The dust tastes of ancestors. It coats the tongue. A fine grit of powdered bone in sun minus scorched earth. For the sun minus scorched clan. A lineage of Homo Erectus defined by the harsh light they live under. This is the taste of the end. Tail. The clan's strongest hunter, watches from the shadow of a rock overhang. His eyes, narrowed against the glare, trace the line of the canyon wall. It is there. A scar of human will carved into the rock. That their world stops. The fortress of the Canyon Spear clan. It's no great wall. Not by the standards of a world yet to come. But it is absolute. A palisade of sharpened logs. Thick as a man's thigh. Is interwoven with thorny creepers and reinforced with a rampart of black basalt. It strangles the narrow pass. The only artery that leads from this arid basin to the promise of the green valley beyond. For 3 cycles of the moon, the Canyon Spear have held them here. A slow, deliberate siege. The last of the dried ibex meat is gone. Gnawed from the bones until they were white and smooth. No. They chew fibrous roots that offer little but a dull ache in their hollow bellies. The children no longer run. They sit in the shade of the caves, their dark eyes too large for their faces. The clan's osteodontokeratic technology, once a source of pride, keyers made from the shattered femurs of an Ankylosaurus, spear points fashioned from Triceratops' horn, now seems pathetic. They are tools for hunting beasts, not for breaking a wall built by the malice of their own kind. A deep, resonant thump echoes from the valley floor below the pass, a sound that is part of the world's own heartbeat. It is a sound they have learned to ignore, like the wind. A small movement catches Kayla's eye. Liara. She is slithering back from the forward scouting position. A silver shadow moving between boulders. She carries no food, only information. Her report is delivered in clipped, breathy whispers. The Canyon Spear are strengthening the eastern watchtower. They have a new supply of water. Holden gourds from the Green Valley Spring Cal can almost taste if he breathes deep enough. They are comfortable. They are patient. They are waiting for the sun minus scorched to starve. This is a war of attrition, a concept new and terrible in the dawn of ancient history. It is a war fought not with the charge and the throwing spear, but with the slow, grinding power of denial. It is a war of the mind, and the Canyon Spear are winning. Myra hesitates, then adds one more detail, her voice dropping lower. The Grey Wanderer is close to the wall. That is their name for it. The living mountain. The Ankylosaurus. It grazes near the fortress. Its immense, armored body a feature of the landscape. Even the Canyon Spear. Arrogant in their stone minus and minus wood bastion. Give it a wide, respectful berth. Its tail, a solid cudgel of bone, can pulverize a boulder. Its hide, a mosaic of fused osteoderms, can turn the sharpest spear. It is a force of nature, belonging to no one. As Lyra speaks, Kayla's gaze drifts from the impenetrable fortress to the impossible beast. The 2 dominant facts of his world. 1. A wall of human design, blocking the path to life. The other, a wall of flesh and bone, wandering aimlessly beside it. For the first time, he does not see them as separate problems. He sees them as a lock and a key. The idea is a madness born of starvation. When Kale speaks it in the hollow of the main cave, the elders stare as if he has been touched by the sun. To go near the Grey Wanderer is to court obliteration. To anger it is to commit suicide. But Lyra, whose mind is as sharp as any flint blade, sees the desperate logic. We are already dead. She whispers into the silence. This is just a faster way to be buried. The debate is short. The choice is between the slow, gnawing death of thirst and hunger, or a swift, violent one in service of a chance at life. The eyes of the clan turn tomorrow. The old woman whose skin is a map of droughts and hard seasons. Her life has been one of observation, a study of the patterns of prehistoric life. She has watched the great beasts longer than anyone. She nods slowly, her gaze distant. It does not hate, she says, her voice a dry rust. It fears. It fears for its soft belly. It fears the hunter's tooth from the side. Its rage is a shield. And with that, the madness becomes a plan. They begin a new kind of hunt. The prey is not flesh, but understanding. From the high ledges, they watch the Ankylosaurus. They are a collective mind, a community of starving ancient humans focusing every last ember of their energy on this one task. They note how it turns its armored back to the open plain but keeps its flank toward the canyon walls, where a predator might launch an ambush. They see how the rumble of a distant rockslide makes it freeze, swinging its massive head. But the shriek of a pterodactyl overhead earns no reaction. They chart its patrol, a surprisingly predictable circuit of grazing on the tough, no-lying cycads. This is an act of pure foresight, an intellectual gamble against extinction. The first test is a failure. Olin, the clan's swiftest runner, darts in and casts a stone against the creature's vast, plated side. The rock seal acts loudly against the interlocking osteoderms and falls to the dust. The grey wanderer pauses its chewing for a moment. A twitch of its tail the only acknowledgement, then resumes its meal. Annoyance is not the key. The second test is born from Mara's wisdom. Fear. They must mimic a predator. Cain and Bor are chosen. They strip away their hide coverings, their movements slow and silent, an imitation of a hunting Allosaurus. They approach from the beast's left flank, from the blind spot behind its thick skull. Their spears are not for piercing, but for sound, a careless signal. They lunge forward. Bor scrapes the razor-sharp flint tip of his spear down the creature's side, creating a high-pitched shriek of stone on armor. Simultaneously, Kale lets out a deep, guttural roar, a sound he has practiced, a crude copy of a Carnosaurus challenge. The reaction is instantaneous and absolute. The earth trembles. The grey wanderer lets out a bellow that is not animal, but geological. It does not turn to face them. It explodes sideways. The tail, a solid ball of bone the size of a man's torso, whips around with impossible speed. It does not aim for them, but for the space they occupied. It connects with a basalt outcrop, and the rock simply vanishes in a cloud of dust and shattered fragments. The shockwave knocks the hunters from their feet as they scramble back toward the safety of the caves. Their terror is mixed with a horrifying elation. They did not just provoke it, they have learned it how to aim it. The world is held in the grey breath before dawn. There is no bird song, only the frantic thumping of Kayla's own heart. The torches, their heads wrapped in resin-soaked hide, wait for the signal. The clan is in position, phantoms spread in a loose arc across the valley floor. This is the choreography of fury, and there will be no second performance. Lyra gives the sign. A sharp, clicking call of a nightguard. The torches flare to life, small, defiant stars in the gloom. The plan is in motion. Kale and Bor begin the overture. They approach the slumbering grey wanderer from its flank, their movements a fluid prayer to silence. The spear scrapes, the raw tears from Kale's throat, and the beast awakens into a world of fire and fear. It rises, a tectonic shifting of armored plates. The bellow it unleashes rips the morning quiet to shreds. But this time, it is not just a blind panic. To its left, a torch waves, a point of pain for its ancient eyes. To its right, another hunter bangs stones together, a sharp, unnerving clatter that mimics the cracking of bone. They have created a corridor of terror, and the only path of escape is forward. The Ankylosaurus, a creature of pure defensive instinct, does what it is designed to do. It charges toward the perceived safety of the canyon wall, where it can protect its vulnerable flanks. The ground shakes with each footfall. This is no longer a beast. It is an avalanche, a living siege engine of bone and rage, and they are its desperate engineers. From the fortress, shouts of alarm rise, thin and greedy against the dinosaur's roar. The canyon spears see the charging mountain, but they cannot comprehend the human minds guiding it. Arrows fly, bouncing harmlessly off the thick, keratin no US hide, spears shatter. The grey wanderer, goaded by the flickering fires and the relentless noise from behind, lowers its head and accelerates. The impact is absolute. The palisade of thick logs, a monument to the canyon spear's dominance, explodes inward. A sound of a forest being felled in a single instant. Wood, rock, and bodies are thrown into the air. The beast does not stop. It plows through the breach, its tail a devastating metronome of destruction, leveling huts and shattering the rampart. The resulting lithic scatter of the basalt wall becomes shrapnel, a testament to a force no human structure could withstand. The first true war of hominid history is over in less than 100 heartbeats. The sun-scorched clan does not cheer. They stand in the dust, leaning on their spears, chests heaving. They watch the terrified survivors of the canyon spear scramble out of the far side of their ruined fortress and flee into the Badlands. They watch the grey wanderer, its rage subsiding, wander confused all through the wreckage before lumbering out into the newly opened pass toward the Green Valley. Kale knocks at the breach. He sees the path to water, to food, to life. But he also sees the terrible knowledge now etched into their minds. They did not simply defeat an enemy. They took the raw, primal power of the prehistoric world and bent it into a weapon. They looked upon a god of flesh and bone, and made it their human. The taste in his mouth is no longer just the dust of ancestors, but the ash of a terrible new fire they have just lit. The chronicle of the sun-scorched does not end here, but its path is forever altered. The victory at the canyon was not merely a conquest for territory. It was a profound shift in the very nature of human evolution. On that day, a small band of Homo Erectus proved that the most formidable weapon on this ancient earth was not the claw of a Tyrannosaurus rex or the club of an Ankylosaurus, but the coordinated, tactical thought of a desperate mind. They looked upon a world of titans and refused to be mere prey. This harrowing act of ingenuity, born from the brink of extinction, became the dark blueprint for our species' ascent. The echo of that breaking wall is the echo of the first fortress falling, the first shield wall breaking, the first cannonade. It is the sound of our ancestors declaring that the rules of nature no longer applied to them, and that the age of monsters would be succeeded by an age of men who had learned all too well how to create their own. The chronicle does not record victory, only the changing of the wind. Out on the great salt flats, the earth begins to tremble to a different rhythm.